Hello, everybody. It's great to be here one more time today. My name is Gary Fowler, and I am the CEO, president, founder of GSD, Get You Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart of Silicon Valley. I'm a 17-time serial entrepreneur with several unicorns under the belt. I was on the original management team at Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion. Also, Eva.ai. I started one of the first generative AI companies, Pre-Transformer Model, with Dr. David Yang. We believe at GSD that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities are not. With that, I've got an incredible guest today. Rachel Curtis is a CEO of her company in ECO. Rachel's groundbreaking work in conversational AI, affordability assessments, and customer-driven innovation earned her recognition as one of the standout 45 women in finance by Innovate Finance, and recently led an ECO AI to win the prestigious KPMG UK Tech Innovator of the Year award. Ooh, we got to hear more about that. So stay tuned as we explore Rachel's journey, insights, and vision for her future. So I'd like to bring Rachel on board. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Gary.
Good to have you here today. Your career spans over 3 decades in financial services.
I don't know old enough, do I, Gary? You have to say that first.
It's amazing because I was looking at you. I said, how in the world could it be 3 decades? You don't look to be
very
that
good
old.
Face cream. I've invested in face cream, clearly.
It must be some good Korean stuff because it's doing a good job. So what motivated you to transition from traditional banking to leading a fintech startup?
To some extent, it was accidental. I kind of got grabbed by solving a problem, I guess. So the journey was really, I was doing a digital transformation project in a challenger bank in the UK, and this was about 5 years ago. Started working with some conversational AI technology in the early days. And I guess in the banking industry, which was my background, we were quite grumpy about sort of chatbots at that time because they were being deployed really poorly. Consumer experience was poor, success rates were bad. But I could see that the tech was starting to move on. So I was quite intrigued as to how it could be used. But I think at that stage, as humans, we were all a little bit sort of unsure. And I think what I was looking for was, is there a use case where consumers would rather deal with a virtual agent rather than a human agent?
Or any agent. I don't know about you, Rachel,
Well,
but I hate this stuff when somebody's not there and I'm on the line waiting and waiting and waiting. It's disgusting. And you can't get an answer. And you don't have time and you don't know when they're going to come. It's going to be somebody will be in there 3 minutes, but it's never 3 minutes.
No, yeah. So it's that, when can I get the support, or how can I get the support I need at the time and in a way that's convenient for me? And the use case I came across was, one of my colleagues was telling me about an interaction he'd had. He was in London one night, and unfortunately he had to intervene when a very heavily pregnant lady was trying to take her own life. And that was because she was in debt. And in the UK, if you're in debt, to set up a payment plan to resolve that situation, you have to complete quite a long affordability form called an income and expenditure form, an I&E. And that's a task that's quite difficult for people that are struggling financially. So they're sent sort of forms to do on their own, either paper or digital, or they have to ring a call centre and do it over the phone. They can't do the form on their own, and they can't face speaking to a human because they're really embarrassed about their finances and they don't want to get that help from a human. So that was when the penny dropped for me, that maybe this was the use case for a group of consumers that wanted help, but not from a human. And that's how Inicio started.
Wow. So as a recognized accidental fintech leader, what unexpected lessons have you learned moving into this innovative space?
I guess it's been really interesting. I thought the tech was really simple. Our solution is very simple. We've got a virtual agent that in a very friendly way, guides consumers through doing quite a complicated financial form. You can talk in slang and jargon and just, chat about your money. And our agent does the hard work of filling in the form in the right way. So I thought, well, this is really simple. It'll be easy to kind of get companies to adopt it. But it really wasn't in the early days. We were taking an industry that had always done things with human agents over the phone to trying to be digital. And there was a lot of concern at the start, either from chief operating officers around, oh, you're trying to get rid of all my staff. Your virtual agent won't be as good as my staff. I can't control what your virtual agent does, whereas I can influence my human agents. How am I going to know how it works? That lot of sort of skepticism at the start. So we had to kind of find those ways to demonstrate the technology with some early adopters and get people comfortable with the results. And the results are phenomenal. And that makes it an awful lot easier now.
No, it's fantastic. I started doing conversational AI stuff back in 2016, 2017. Actually, David Yang, one of the top AI leaders, was my partner in the company. And, you look at it, and the time people didn't get how powerful it would be, right? So you focus on affordability assessments using conversational AI. Can you explain how your platform specifically benefits businesses and their customers?
So from a consumer perspective, it's much easier for the customer to fill in what is quite a long form. So they can talk in their own language, they can fill boxes in, they can pre-fill it with open banking data. They've got, within one space, they've got lots of options to kind of do it in a way that suits them. So consumers they're sort of 50% faster at filling it in. We've got other sort of benefits integrated in there where it can find them sort of money they may be missing out on or cost savings, those kind of things. So it works better for the consumer. Then from the business perspective, it cuts their agent cost, because actually a lot of agents are sat on the phone doing this very repetitive task of asking somebody's income and expenditure. So agent attrition is quite high as well. And actually, by giving the customer a tool where they can self-serve, what the agent can do is pick up that conversation at the end of the boring bit and actually help the customer get to an answer. So agents are kind of finding it easier in terms of a process. So I guess it cuts costs. It also accesses more customers. So from a business perspective, depending on the type of consumer group, you've sometimes got 90% of customers that won't engage with you because they're just sticking their head in the sand and trying to avoid the problem. Or your call centre is not available at the time they want to do it. We have a lot of consumers doing it at sort of 2:00 in the morning when the call centre's closed. So by putting this technology in, we're accessing typically about 30% of no contact customers are now engaging and, resolving their situation with the company.
Interesting. So, given the rapid developments in AI technology, how do you ensure that your solutions remain responsible and compliant with financial regulations? Because they change every day, right? How do you do that?
So I guess for us, we've always, my background is sort of 30 years in regulated industry, and you'll probably know the UK banking regulators got a very good reputation of being, very strict about this stuff. So we started from the place of how do we ensure good consumer outcomes right from the start, and that's kind of helped us stay the right side. Interestingly, when we first launched, the product we sell didn't need to be regulated because we were a B2B provider. But we worked with the FCA, the regulator in the UK, and actually we became the first and only FCA regulated provider of our service last year, because I just felt it did need that additional kind of oversight. Really, what we were doing was really important. There's lots of vulnerable customers that we're trying to help. So yeah, in terms of keeping it safe, I guess we make sure the AI is enabled to help customers, but locked down to not, give poor outcomes. So, the prompting that's in there is really, really tight. We're really clear on what the AI can do. It's constantly reminded of what its job is, so it can't forget the context. We also repeat back to the customer what we've done, so the customer has the chance to go, oh, no, that's not quite right. We also, really tightly control what it can do and what it can't do. So it cannot give financial advice. It's got to stay on track, all that kind of stuff. So we try and sort of control it that way. and
Does it
show.
ever get out of the gates, Rachel? Have you ever had it get out of the gates where it started to do things that you didn't ask it to do? Have you ever had it get out of the guardrails?
Not yet. I think. Well, no, I should just say not yet. It should never be not yet, will it? So no, it hasn't. And I guess it's difficult, isn't it? Have we been too cautious? So we've had it not understand things customers are trying to say because of one of the lockdowns. So you could say, well, maybe you need to open it up a bit more. But I think we'd rather go cautiously and then open it up gently rather than start too wide, find the mistakes and close it, if that makes sense.
You recently raised 3 million in seed funding, and you including the UK's largest pitch prize of 1.3 million pounds. Congratulations! And what was the key to your successful fundraising? By the way, we have people that tune in. We have 1.3 million views. They tune in today from 73 countries around the world. So they're watching and they're really curious. How do you go down through and raise that kind of money? But really, what was the key to your fundraising strategy and your success? And what role did conversational AI play in helping you to get the funding? How did being a conversational AI company help?
I guess it was the strength of the use case. So you mentioned on the intro we just won KPMG's Tech Innovator, which is the trophy sitting on my right shoulder that I'm
Ooh,
very
that's
proud
great.
of.
Was that the
There we
blue
go.
one?
Yes, the blue one.
Congratulations.
That's my new acquisition. I guess the feedback we got from them only just last week was that we found a really strong use case and we've owned that space. So we're very narrow, we're very specific about what we do, but we're owning that space really, really clearly. And we've turned competitors in our space into our customers by only doing the thing that we do, and they're doing a broader set, so they're sort of plugging us in. I mean, fundraising was incredibly hard. It took us a year to raise that round, which I wish it was faster. It's just that's such a distraction from the business. I think it was just being really, really on the clock, clear on the proposition, and being able to show traction was the clear message. All of the funders are looking for. Show me that the market is there for what you're doing and that it works as well. So being able to get use cases, demonstrate results, and show a really strong pipeline was sort of the things that de-risk the investment. And I think, we joke a little bit that we're not sure where the venture's gone out of venture capital. It's just capital these days because the risk profile has really pulled back. So I guess we were trying to find ways to show how we were removing that risk for the investors.
As a non-executive director at Loughborough Building Society and Consumer Duty Board Champion, how did these roles complement your work with in ECO AI?
So my non-exec board role at a building society is very different. It's a 150-year-old building society. Not necessarily slower pace, but definitely a different environment to a fast-growing fintech. What it helps is because that's a regulated industry as well, it helps me keep very close to regulation from, they look like a customer of mine. They're not a client of mine, but they're sort of in that space. So I keep very close to what's happening on that side of the fence, as well as being able to understand what's happening in tech. And I guess it makes me more effective at both roles because I can understand what's going on either side of the fence.
And you recently graduated from Morgan Stanley's Inclusive Ventures Lab. How has that experience shaped your perspective on entrepreneurship and diversity in tech?
Yeah, so Morgan Stanley's lab, they do a program across the US and across Europe. And I think in our year, there were about 8,000 applications. And I think there were 20 odd companies that got onto the program. And Morgan Stanley really do invest in that, trying to support underrepresented founders. And it was a 5-month program, exceptionally intense, but it looked at all aspects of the business from sort of, strategy, team, fundraising, sales, everything. And it was a real kind of health check, I guess, of us as a business, and really helped sort of shape us and then very good connections, obviously, from Morgan Stanley. They made lots of really powerful introductions as well. So it was a fantastic program, really supportive of us.
What advice would you give other executives considering making the leap from corporate leadership roles into the startup world?
Make sure you've had a lot of sleep before you try it. I think it's that, just make sure you are truly passionate about the problem you're trying to solve, because there are the most amazing highs and lows on the journey, and it can be quite lonely. So surround yourself with the right support, but have that kind of North Star that you are so tightly held onto that it keeps you going in the tough moments.
And how do you maintain balance and resilience amid the demanding pace of building a startup?
I guess it's having the support, the people around me. I'm really lucky. I've got a very experienced board. I've got a really strong, fabulous senior team. I've got, a wonderful family that I can moan at and will support me and back me up. And then, yeah, sort of make sure the people are around you that can provide you with that support and the tough times.
Looking forward, what's your ultimate vision for the company, and where do you see it over the next 5 years?
So I guess in the immediate term, we initially started in sort of the debt space in the UK. We're expanding now into the new lending space. We're also growing out. That's given us really valuable data. So we will create sort of more of a data business, and then it's international expansion. Really, we've already had inbound inquiries from jurisdictions that are doing similar things to the UK. So hopefully traveling around the world and sharing our fabulous product.
No, that sounds fantastic. Listen, we're coming to the top of the show. If you want to stay on afterwards, we can talk a little bit. So closing thoughts, and how do people get a hold of you, Rachel?
So I'm on LinkedIn, simply Rachel Curtis. You should find me. Yeah, closing thoughts. I think it's a really, really exciting journey. If you're really, you've got that thing that you're passionate about, go for it.
Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. We appreciate it. And thanks to all my audience for joining one more time. It's because of you we're at 1.3 million views. We appreciate it. We're going to keep that content coming out for you. Remember, GSD Venture Studios, Silicon Valley. My name is Gary Fowler. I'm your host. This is Top Global Startups. Stay happy, stay safe, and stay healthy. And we'll be back to you again soon with another exciting edition. Thank you very much. And thanks, everybody.